Strange but true stories. Tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. Nothing like a nice, relaxing walk in the woods, right? Just park your car, take the trail, wander and explore, and enjoy nature. Maybe do a little hunting if that's your thing. Unless it's the middle of the night, deep in the woods, and there happens to be an unknown predator following you in the dark of night, within earshot but out of your eyesight. Then that nice, relaxing walk in the woods becomes a terror-filled nightmare. Such was the case with the subject of today's story. It was sent to us by a viewer like you. Now, put yourself in this gentleman's boots for a few moments and see how you would react to what happened to him this one strange, dark night. I was black powder hunting alone in an area of Kentucky far removed from civilization as most people know it. I love the challenge of a muzzleloader and a lone shot. I feel a little like Daniel Boone when I'm off in the woods by myself with this gun. Plus, with special rules for muzzleloaders, you can extend your hunting season a good bit. In Kentucky, there is a lot of great, expansive forests you can wander off into. We were way off grid on property with old growth timber for many miles in every direction, with just a few seasonal hunting cabins that were unoccupied for most of the year. I've deer hunted this property all my life, and had never had any reason to fear walking into my deer stand in the dark. That was until 2008. That season changed my life forever. I always rode my four-wheeler in and parked about 250 yards outside my favorite spot and walked the rest of the way, so as not to spook any game before I got to my stand. I found my usual spot to park my four-wheeler, shut it down, and put my backpack on. And just then, I heard a very large limb snap, and I thought it was a deer or an animal moving around, what sounded like maybe 20 yards away from me. I didn't think about it. I'm out in the woods. There's lots of animals. I just figured I had spooked one and it had gone off running deeper in the woods. I gathered my gun and hunting stuff and started walking down this 2-track trail. The moon was reflecting enough light that I didn't really need my flashlight to see where I was walking. Plus, I'm familiar with the area. I hunted here a lot and knew the trail. This trail ended in a 15-acre hayfield surrounded by old growth timber. As I walked along, I began to realize that something was paralleling my every step just inside the woods. I walked a few steps and stopped, and it, whatever it was, would do the same. I took a few more steps, and the animal, or whatever, took steps right along with me and stopped when I did, but this time the footsteps sounded like they were getting closer. I wasn't absolutely sure, but it sounded like whatever it was, mirroring my movement, was walking on 2 legs. And when you have only sound at your disposal, that sense is heightened. And it's pretty distinctive, the walking cadence of a 2-legged animal and a 4-legged animal. I took 2 slow steps, and this thing took 2 slow steps. Was this some sort of weird echo I had never heard out here before? I'm on a path with woods all around. It's not like there are lots of reflective surfaces that would bounce back sound like this, but yet, how did this creature match me step for step? Had to be an echo, right? I took 4 quick steps, and this time the creature took 4 steps, but it was not in stride with me. Okay, there's something definitely there, to my left, tracking me. Don't panic. Stay calm. Think. Okay, I'm a little freaked. Could this be another man out here tracking me? I have a serious situation on my hands. I'm too far away from my four-wheeler, and I still have a ways to go to get to my deer stand. My pulse quickened. Breathing picked up. Trying not to pay attention to whatever is stalking me, I picked up my pace and made a beeline for the field. As much as I tried not to take notice, it was impossible for me not to hear my stalker pace me the entire way, but strangely, it never got any closer to me. I made it to the field, and could just see my stand on the edge of the woods, about 75 yards across this open hayfield. I didn't run, but I moved quickly in that direction. When I got to within about 10 yards from the stand, I heard another large limb snap really close to the edge of the field on my left. I stopped, dead in my tracks, turned my flashlight on, and shined in that direction. Two glowing green eyes reflected in my flashlight. My heart about jumped out of my chest. This was not a man. The eyes were too far apart for a human face, but I couldn't make out any other features. What was this? I raised my hands in the air and yelled, "Get out of here!" I stomped my foot several times, hoping to scare it away, but instead it just blinked its eyes once and never moved. Again, I couldn't make out any details of whatever this was, but it appeared to be crouching down now. My gesticulations and yelling at it didn't move it one bit. Most non-predatory animals will run, but this thing stayed put. I realized in that instant the best thing to do was take the high ground and get in the stand as quickly as possible. This, whatever it was no more than 15 feet away now, and if I shot at it in the dark, I would have been blinded by the muzzle flash, again shooting black powder, and it might attack if I missed. And with only one shot, I knew I would be in trouble if it did attack. I climbed up the ladder like a squirrel. I made it into my deer stand in what I considered relative safety. I got situated in the stand and took my position. I looked at my watch, and I had a little more than an hour before sunrise. I watched, listened, and waited for what seemed like an eternity for daybreak. This thing circled me in my stand, just out of reach of my flashlight, for over an hour. I am not ashamed to admit, I was scared beyond measure. But I remained as calm as I could and knew the only way it could get to me was if it climbed the ladder, and I felt comfort in knowing it had to climb up that ladder to get to me, but didn't seem to know exactly how to utilize it. At one point in the dark, I heard what sounded like a small rock bounce off the lower end of the metal ladder. I waited with my gun at the ready, and I would have done whatever it took to stay alive, and I wasn't going down without a fight. I could see a shadow moving, but in the dark you never know if your eyes are playing tricks on you, but I could sense a real threat lurking in the dark field surrounding my deer stand. For whatever reason, this thing was stalking me, and did so until just a few minutes before daybreak. I heard its footsteps fade into the woods where it had followed me from. I waited, watched, and listened intently until full daylight. Then I decided it was safe enough for me to descend cautiously down the ladder, but staying on high alert. As I walked back to my four-wheeler, I knew this thing wasn't gone, but hiding inside the forest, watching my every move. I moved across the field quickly and waited and listened before heading down the 2-track surrounded on both sides with trees, because I knew this would be the perfect ambush spot with close quarters and not much room to evade or fight off an attack of any kind. I unsnapped my hunting knife sheath, got a firm grip on my black powder rifle, and went for broke, ready for battle of life or death. As I rounded the corner where my four-wheeler was sitting, I saw my escape and wasted no time jumping on the machine. As I turned the key and reached to hit the starter button, I heard another branch or limb snap with great force somewhere behind me. That thing had been stalking me the whole way back to my bike. I fired it up, goosed the throttle hard, going through the gears as fast as I could ever remember. To be honest, I didn't want to know what it was, and was just relieved I had escaped such a close call. I got back to my hunting cabin, packed up, left the area, and went back home and cut the week-long hunt short, and didn't return until the following spring. I've often thought about this experience, and since realized the days leading up to it, I didn't see any wildlife at all. The forest was eerily quiet, and no animal activity at all. So, What was it, you may ask? I don't know, Bigfoot, Wendigo, or some sort of cryptid? I don't know, but I do know that it wasn't human, and I experienced it, and I've never been the same when I enter the woods since. I changed my hunting tactics about how and when I enter the woods, and always carry a backup sidearm. And I tune into what the creatures in the woods are telling me first and foremost. If the squirrels and the birds are not moving around, normally there is a predator in their midst. And it just might be hunting you as well. This has been another strange but true story sent to us by a viewer just like you. So, are you ready to do some night hiking? A little jaunty jaunt in the woods under a canopy of trees in the moonlight? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and sign up for notifications so you know when the next SBT drops to the channel. Thanks to all those who have, and thanks for watching this video. I'm Steve White. Until next time.